South Africa's Defence Force denies reports that SANDF soldiers have been engaged in combat with rebels in the DRC. And Zwelinzima Vavi says poverty has declined too slowly since the start of democracy. I'm Richard Brooks. South Africa's Defence Force has denied reports that SANDF soldiers have been engaged in combat with rebels in the DRC. Reports have claimed that South African troops serving with the UN force in the DRC were engaged in tough fighting near the key eastern town of Goma. Marisa Simões reports.
Defence Force spokesperson Piwe Dlamini has asked the media to stop speculating about what has happened in the eastern DRC. He says the media should rather get factual information. Dlamini says the SANDF has consistently indicated that it has not engaged any rebel forces in the DRC.
Kusatu Zwelinzima Vavi says poverty has declined too slowly since the start of democracy. Vavi was addressing a panel discussion hosted by the Young Professionals Forum at the Gordon Institute of Business Science in Johannesburg. Rulani Beloy reports.
Vavi says poverty, inequality and unemployment remain major problems in South Africa. The Labour Federation leader says with the current levels of unemployment, South Africa is back to where it was in 2008 when the global recession hit. He says the Marikana violence of last year is evidence that the economic situation in the country remains precarious. Vavi's statement comes as unions representing workers in the gold industry have tabled wage demands of between 60 and 100%. With the Chamber of Mines offering 4%.
Management at Cons Merch Gold Mine in Gravelot outside Palaboa in Limpopo say they are talking to unions in a bid to end the underground sit-in. More than 100 miners have been engaged in the sit-in for almost a week over shares that they were promised by management to them. The shares are worth 200 million rand. The mine's MD, Donald Butle Ube.
Consistent cut-off of electricity and water. Well, from our side, as far as when we know those services to that shafts are still open, we have not closed any such services. And with regards to the situation, we are still continuing with engagements with the relevant stakeholders. Well, our discussions are all with the objective of eventually having the employees on surface, and that's what we're engaging around. Unfortunately, at this moment, I can't say whether, in terms of I'm optimistic or not. Like I say, it's still work in progress and we're still busy engaging each other.
Newly appointed Executive Director of UN Women, Phumzile Mlambo-Uka, says celebrations of women's achievements like hers should not be about the individual, but about how they use their positions for women less fortunate. Mlambo-Uka has joined a long list of South African women who occupy top international positions. These include Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, the first woman chair of the African Union, Geraldine Fraser-Moleketi, who was recently appointed to the African Development Bank, and UN Human Rights Chief Navi Pillay. Mlambo-Uka explains.
Sometimes when we celebrate women who achieve, there sometimes is a risk that we forget that this is an achievement of one person. We need to be focusing on how are you lifting as you climb. What changes does the fact that this one woman in this position mean for the women at the bottom of the pyramid? And for me, just finding that connection so that my appointment is not the celebration of me, it is the celebration of what can happen for the women who may never be in a senior position, but whose lives and the changes depend on how I act, how I carry myself, what I prioritize.